One of the worst things about what they've done to our nation is you can never be sure if the person online who's speaking an opinion is a moron, where the information they disseminate to control people and confuse people, and as an average person who's not bright, an average person who just goes along, they're mimetically repeating memes the elite class wants you to say to keep you controlled and keep you from waking up, and or rather, who is the disseminator, who's consciously saying misleading information to confuse you. I think that's one of the reasons the Will Stancil account, its takes I'm preoccupied with, because it's like a hologram, and a good intelligence asset will be like a hologram, in that in one light you're absolutely sure everything this account is saying is for a deliberate goal of controlling the people. He knows, everybody reading him doesn't know, but he knows what he's doing, and his goal is to disseminate ideas that help the elite plans. On the other hand, and again, this would be a good account if made by intelligence. On the other hand, you think, no, this person's just a rich, white, maybe he's Jewish, I don't know, but he's like an upper class liberal who is sheltered and so believes all the stupid bullshit and is hopeless to figure out how he got here and how to get out of it. A less effective account, you can be reasonably sure they're disseminating crap information. Like a lot of the leftists and Nazis on both X and Blue Sky. Blue Sky is very few Nazis, but they do have a lot of fucking crazy leftists. A lot of those accounts, you can be reasonably sure that they're working for elites to confuse and promote their agendas. But that's the thing about the Will Stancil account. Like, this could just be a dork who's grew up like rich and sheltered, believes all the bullshit he's saying, despite, he mocked what's going on with me, so I know he's in closer with them, but he could just be a useful, they have a lot of useful idiots. Like, the number one way the elite class gets their goals is by people not realizing they're controlled. How many thought what they did to me was just a revenge plot? That's the thing of it. At least for me, knowing what I know, I can never be sure if they're a useful idiot or a high level agent doing a good job. Like, Emily Deans and her account Darth. I still don't know. I still don't know if she's just a peripheral orbiter. In the sense, she knows somewhat what they do. She knows the plot about me. She helped it. But she's not an intelligence asset. She really believes the shit she's saying. She just naturally is pretending to be a prog because as society gets more divided, you're either a MAGA or a prog. There's no in-betweens anymore. And so the reason she no longer posts as a neocon who's never Trump is because you got to choose a side. Or it could be she's an intelligence agent. And that's her job. I don't know. Like I'm not religious. I don't have faith. I can't find strength in religion. I'm an opposite person. What always comforts me is knowledge. And I find it incredibly frustrating. I can never know these things. Are you a fucking moron? Are you a result of intelligence? Or are you the manipulator and you know everything you're doing in your agendas? A useful idiot controlled by intelligence will look a lot like an agent. Charles Manson was an asset of the CIA and didn't even know it. A lot of their best assets don't know how controlled they are. Look at these people who thought what they were doing to me was a revenge plot. I truly believe they think that. I don't think they realize the goal was to fuck up progressivism further and control speech. I don't think they have any awareness of that. I think they truly believe this was a revenge plot, just like the people in the Manson cult believed in Helter Skelter, just like Charles Manson had no idea the reason he's being let out of prison and they no longer care about his criminality is they want him to do crimes to then blame on the beatniks and fuck up progressivism. Every group the CIA has traditionally wanted to sully and make look like shit all circle back to either communism, socialism, or progressivism. That's been their job. So beatniks associated with the left make them look like shit. Black rights activists make them look like shit. Feminists make them look like shit. Make them look crazy. That's the number one way they invalidate people. Like them gaslighting me and making the psychiatrist diagnose me with schizophrenia, despite the fact I have no. To be diagnosed with schizophrenia, you have to have a thought disorder. It requires more than saying something that is delusional. The delusion has to be what's called bizarre. In psych language, bizarre means it cannot happen. Like, for example, if I thought I was really my dog, that can't happen. That's a bizarre delusion. Me saying the billionaire class targeted me after 9/11, right after they made Google, in some kind of control speech plot to rally stupid people to attack me, is not bizarre. It actually, there's a lot of data to support that. Like, yeah, they are attacking liberalism. They have been since 2001. Since 2001, they've been trying to set the groundwork for a tech authoritarian state. Me saying I got enmeshed in that is not a bizarre delusion. If it's not true, it's a delusion, but it's not bizarre. For example, me thinking somebody loves me and I'm convinced they really love me is a delusion if it's not true, but it's not bizarre. They could love you. Me thinking I actually have my dog's brain and my dog and me have a psychic link and our brains are linked is a bizarre delusion. It cannot happen. That's the difference. The bizarre portion is important to schizophrenia because it suggests a severe thought disorder on par with schizophrenia. And there's other signs of this brain disease, like literally, it's dementia-like. The earliest thing of schizophrenia was dementia praecox because the damage to the brain is so severe, you are illogical. And that's why the delusions of schizophrenia have a bizarre quality. They cannot happen. Me saying, like, everything you can see with your own eyes, I'm enmeshed in it, is not bizarre. It could happen. And it did. So, provided what I'm saying is not bizarre, it's just hard to believe. Just like me saying someone loves me and is hiding it is not bizarre. It's just hard to believe. It requires something else like thought insertion, thought deletion, neologism, something that for your brain to do that, it's really fucked up. A delusion is not enough. But he was writing depression, delusional disorder, which would be appropriate if I really was crazy. But it's like they ordered him to call me paranoid schizophrenic, despite the fact I don't meet those criteria. Probably because I pointed out, like, he's constantly validating what I say because he knows it's true. Like, I remember when I told him I got targeted right after 9/11, like 17 days later, he was like, whoa. Like that genuine whoa, like, I know you're really going through this. Oh my God. They really did use you for, like, some kind of global control intelligence shit. When I told them the time, like, these people telling you it's revenge are lying. Like, they were gonna pick somebody. If you're a smart person, the timeline between me getting targeted and their clear global plots suggests that the real reason they did this is related to all that shit. Not revenge, not I upset them, more they looked for somebody to be the victim. So that's why when I said that, it was significant to him, because he's not a stupid person. He could graduate medical school and become a psychiatrist. He's better at thinking than you. And so it clicked, like, when I said that, like, oh yeah, it's definitely not revenge. You're in some intelligent shit. It's about them. Or whoever the target of this is. The target is progressives and people who believe they have freedom of speech, by the way. Anyway, I'm off. I went off tangent, right? That for me, as somebody who's only found comfort in thinking and understanding, not faith or any bullshit. I'm the polar opposite kind of person. If I understand something, it offers me comfort. I really resent I can never know who's a useful idiot created by intelligence to the point you can't tell if they're working for them consciously or not. Because a good intelligence plot, the people will be so controlled and feel so free and so sure they know, you can't tell if their goal is to confuse or if they are the confused. Since the start of this shit, making the Manson cults, ordering Charlie to be let out of jail, and all the girls around Ashbury going to a CIA clinic all ended up in the Manson cult. They had no idea. Since the earliest days, that's been a mark of a good intelligence plot. If you're looking at someone, you can't tell if they're an agent or the victim. And they're controlled by the agents and they feel free and they're sure everything. So because of that nature of a good intelligence plot, I can never know if the person I'm reading or looking at is a useful idiot or every single thing they're saying is for the plan. And that's why they seem stupid and crazy, because their goal is to make everyone else stupid. Controlled and directed. Like a good border collie, the actions of the dog will be exactly what you want. And the sheep go where they go. Now imagine, because human intelligence is different, you couldn't tell who was the border collie and who was the sheep. Because the plot is so good and so effective, the sheep and the border collies look identical. And I'll never know these people like Will Stansel. Are you a fucking moron, useful idiot? Grew up rich, privileged, went to college, and you just absorbed all their plans and believe them? Or are you the disseminator to create people like that? These people like Emily Deans, Will Stansel, I'll never know. But there's little signs, like Emily Deans shows signs of being scared of being targeted. She's so stupid. She has no idea you're their best border collie man. They would never get rid of you. Ever. You go on Blue Sky, tell them to insulate themselves. You promote anger at the bottom. Completely hide the top. If you're not a fucking agent, you're their biggest useful idiot, man. You believe billionaires and the CIA make jokes about revenge. You're so stupid. And, there's signs in her thinking, like, I'll never forget that telling Dawson that was a good idea, that there's no precedent for mass shootings in human history. So I don't know if she plays dumb or if she really is. And I wish I could know, because it's like, they're all agents, okay, like they're deliberately posting like this to make everyone else fall into the wood chipper. Or it's like, or if you're the useful idiot yourself, if you're a victim of their plot. And so that's why everything you say, think, and do helps them and helps make the world you think you don't want. Why you had no idea you were helping Russia the whole time. Why you don't get, it was over when the USSR fell. Because when the USSR fell, they had no reason to keep this illusion of a middle class, everything after FDR going. And everything since then has been about destroying it. And everything they do is to destroy it. And logically, if you're helping these people, you're helping that. So if you really are progressive, if you really do want to preserve democracy and American liberalism, by helping them in any way, you're a useful idiot by definition. At the dawn of the tech revolution, the internet in 2001, right after, the fact they're dividing us is irrelevant. Their goal has been the same since 2001, make people paranoid, make people afraid, make people unquestioning follow and obey their leaders, all to attack liberalism. Widen the gaps of power and create people in a fear and confusion state where they'll unquestioningly obey leaders. Those two things together are by logic on the road to authoritarianism. So for you to be a neocon, for you to think Bush and Cheney were American, you're either the biggest moron or you're an agent. And I'll never know, because a moron looks a lot like an agent. A victim of intelligence looks a lot like an operative, because they'll be doing everything they want. Just like at the earliest days, the progressive movement in the 60s, black rights, beatniks, feminism, they would send agents who acted like reactive, hysterical, splitting nuts who want to do violence, so then everyone else started being that way. To this day, leftists and their purity testing, they don't know that comes from the CIA. That's not natural or organic. Look at the way the right rolls. They're willing to collaborate with anyone who wants to further the goals of the main goals of the movement. They train you to like look for enemies and punch them. And you don't realize by definition that's defeating your movement. You think what they did to me was a revenge plot versus both attacking speech, which is now coming to bite you because they always wanted to kill progressivism. That was always their objective, duh. And also make progressives look like shit. Like, useful idiots, work of intelligence, or agent. I'll never know. I look at them, I see their takes, and I'm like, this person's either the most controlled, stupid moron, considering how much time they spend on this, and it's like you spend time making a piece of art and it comes out like a stick figure, no matter how many years you work on it. That's either you with like thought politically, or you're purposely doing this to make everyone else controlled, and you have a job to do. And I'll never fucking know, and that kills me, because understanding is such a comfort to me. That's one of the downsides of understanding being how you draw strength. If you draw strength and faith, it's just there no matter what. You could be sitting in the sewer, I have faith in God. But if you actually derive satisfaction and comfort from understanding, and there's a situation where you can never understand because the data is hidden, it's incredibly frustrating. On one hand, like people like me and like that are why humanity propels forward. But if humanity's being oppressed and crushed and killed, then you'll be the most frustrated of all. I can't just look in and have faith in a God. I have to know. And I can't, because by design you can't.